2 years ago, there was a fierce political battle for the seat in Congress that was being vacated by Ileana Ros-Lehtinen. She had held it for 30 years. The winner was former University of Miami President Donna Shalala, a Democrat. She beat Republican candidate Maria Elvira Salazar by about 15,000 votes to represent the 27th Congressional District. Ms. Salazar is running again. She's a veteran, honored broadcast journalist, talk show host based in South Florida. She also has a master's in public administration from Harvard's John F. Kennedy School of Government. Joins us now live. Maria Elvira, great to see you. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right, let's begin, if we can. Something that I noticed in the ad that you are running on all the media, English language media in South Florida, it begins with a statement that I wonder about. So let me just play a bit of the ad.
My American journey started here with $5 in my pocket and Maria Elvira Salazar. I've spent my life holding the corrupt and powerful accountable and fighting for social justice.
Well, here's the point I want to sort of begin with. In the ad, you say, my American journey started here with $5 in my pocket. On your website, you say your parents fled Cuba, came to Miami with $5 in their pocket. You were born in Miami, and you didn't really start here with $5 in your pocket. Your parents did. So is this a misrepresentation?
No, it's not. It's that we were poor. We lived in Little Havana in that apartment complex that you just showed in the commercial. And we were pretty poor Cuban refugees. And my childhood was not of abundance. So that's why I'm trying to say to the public that I want to serve the public because I know what they're feeling at this hour. But I think that you left out in that commercial, I think that one of the most important aspects of it is that Donna Shalala is our representative and she's corrupt.
All right, well, let's get, and that is the point that we really need to discuss here. You say in the ad, Donna Shalala, she broke the law to enrich herself off coronavirus. How did she, give us the evidence, how did Donna Shalala enrich herself off coronavirus?
I'm going to tell you what happened. There is a law in Congress that if you are sitting in Congress, you have to report every single transaction that you make in the stock market within 45 days. Donna Shalala took 17 months to report her first transaction. We're talking about more than 500 transactions. That includes Chinese companies that provide help to the repressive apparatus for the Chinese government. That's among those transactions. She said that there were only 5 or 6, and we're talking about more than 500, worth up to $6 million. We do not know what she has done in 2020, sitting in the Oversight Committee, because she has not reported anything on 2020.
All right, well, let me, if Maria Elvira, excuse me, let's stop right there and sort of back up and look at this. According to the Shalala campaign and records and reports in the Miami Herald and other media, and what I have found, she began divesting herself of her investments in January of 2019 through November of 2019. Our signal is good? Good.
And yeah, awesome. And you can start again your question.
Now, when she began selling her stock, I am told she did it because she didn't want to have any conflicts of interest as a member of Congress. But according to the campaign, Shalala campaign, she finished divesting her stock, failed to report it as she should have to Congress to file that report, was fined $1,200 for failing to file a report on her stock market transactions. But all this happened before the coronavirus.
Putney, you're just repeating what her campaign is telling you. Why don't you look and check very well? I'm going to give you what the facts are. She did not report. We do not know what she has made during 2020 while she has been sitting in that oversight committee because she has not reported anything, number one. Number two, she said that she was setting up a blind trust. The blind trust had not been set up by April of this year. Number two, she said then that her attorney forgot because he was a rookie. Number three, she said that her financial advisor had coronavirus and that's why they couldn't. They couldn't report. So you know very well about a blind trust. You don't trade, you don't buy and sell when you're trying to set up a blind trust. So all these are excuses because we caught her. And I think this is despicable. It's lamentable that we have Donna Shalala sitting in Congress being a day trader and profiting from her position while she has been absent and silent here in the district during the pandemic.
In fact, we do not know, I don't think you know, if she was a day trader. And according to at least the Shalala campaign, she had one stock she could not sell for legal reasons, which was in the Lennar Corporation, and she has now sold that stock. And I have not looked to see if she reported it, but I suspect that she did. Anyway, this accusation.
Well, you look at the Chinese company. It's called Tencent, and that Chinese company, she held that stock for 6 months. So that means that she gave money to the surveillance arm of the communist Chinese government. It's right there. It's unethical that if you are a congresswoman from district number 27 representing half of Little Havana or the Cuban American exile community, that you give money to the Chinese government to repress the opposition. Don't you think, Mike?
Well, that's a serious accusation. It bears looking into. It bears looking into, and I give you my word, I'm going to look into it. All right, email me whatever that document is. All right, Maria Elvira, let me move on here. On Friday, I went to Doral to cover the visit by President Trump for Latinos for Trump. I don't know, there were about 200 people there. Were you there at that event? And if you weren't, why were you not there?
I was not there because I had other previous engagements. But now that you're telling me about Trump, and I think your question is, what do I think of him?
All right,
I think
that is the question.
That's the question. What do I think of him? I think he's extremely unconventional. I think that he sometimes uses the words that I will not be using. But he has implemented policies that have been extraordinary and very good for our community, for South Florida. I'm talking about the economy. I'm talking about Cuba. He was the one who revived the Helms-Burton law that for more than 30 years, presidents from both administrations didn't revive. Look what he did with Israel. Look what he's done with China. He told China, while Donna was buying stocks, he was telling China, you're not going to eat my kids' lunch anymore.
Yeah, well, let's go back to Cuba because we know now in 2008, the Trump organization applied for a license in Cuba to build casinos, hotels, golf courses. He was ready, and that license was granted. He was ready to do business with the Castro regime. What does that tell you?
Well, he didn't do it. So maybe that I don't have that information that the Trump administration has, but I do know what he's done. What has he done about Cuba? He took all the oxygen away from the Cuban government. Now he is telling the Cuban Americans and the Americans that are traveling to Cuba that they cannot stay in hotels that are owned by the repressive apparatus.
Right, and they may not bring back tobacco products, cigars, and rum, although...
That's right, because it's time that we cannot give any more money to the Cuban government to repress its people. I mean, the Cubans want the same thing that we have. There is no Cuban exceptionality. Everybody wants freedom, wants to be able to consume, and to live in a free market economy, which is another thing that we're facing right now within the Democratic Party, that you know that they are moving very much to the left, and those principles, they are not standing up.
But, you know, at the same time, Donna Shalala describes herself as a proud capitalist. And
how come how come when she needed to prove that, she didn't vote in that resolution presented by Mario Diaz-Balart in February 29th, when Mario gave an opportunity to the members of Congress to vote for socialism or against it? And what did Donna do?
She hid.
She walked away. She never voted. So what is she? Is she really against socialism, or she is in favor of it? It's her
All right.
record
Well,
that
she's been on this
speaks for
program. She's been on this program. She has said she is wholeheartedly against socialism. Maria Elvira, I'm glad that we had this conversation.
It's not
And
what you
I
said.
ask you, I'm going to ask you again, send me the document regarding Chinese investments, and I will look.
Absolutely.
I will look
It's
into
here.
it. Okay. Hasta luego. Great seeing you, my friend.
Great,
Okay.
my friend. Thank you very much for having me.